It's International Women's Day. That's exciting. And I'm not making this up. On my life, I had a dart tournament last weekend. I'm an elite athlete. I don't want to brag, but I had a dart tournament last weekend. And for reasons I won't disclose, the wife had to drive home. And so she drove my vehicle home. Kid you not, curbed it, driving right out of the thing. She was laughing so hard we had to pull over and put it in park. But it is International Women's Day, so I salute her for that. Joining me now, another woman, a friend of mine, and she wrote a book that I find to be so fascinating because I've wondered about this forever. It's called The Snowflakes Revolt, How Woke Millennials Hijacked the American Media. Amber, I found this concept to be fascinating, and I'm glad you wrote a book about it because it's wild how the most deranged, lunatic element in our society runs our society. It's not even just the media, but they run everything now. It's wild to me. Why don't we tell these people to shut up and go away like we used to when we were a proper country?
It's so true. It's not just the media. It's major corporations. It's Hollywood. It's our universities. It really is an infection of pretty much every aspect of American society. I focused on the sort of university to media pipeline because it's something that I've seen in my own firsthand experience. I was a pretty outspoken conservative when I was attending Georgetown University, and despite being an elite campus, they pushed through some of the dumbest individuals I've ever met in my life who somehow managed to organize these woke mobs that would just take on campus administrators and get them to bow down to whatever they wanted. And you would think that the media would have learned their lesson by watching the campus craziness for whatever number of years, but they were so obsessed with saying that the right and conservatives were lying about the problem that these wokesters infected their own newsrooms without them even realizing how bad of a problem it was going to be. And I think that one of the reasons why they don't stand up to these crazy people is that they are already pretty liberal themselves, so they're a little bit sympathetic to these really hardcore progressives. And also, a lot of brands are so terrified of negative PR, and these people have exercised pretty effective social media campaigns, bad-mouthing companies who don't give in to their demands. And for boomers, a negative tweet is like the worst thing in the world, so they try to avoid it at all costs.
Okay, Amber, explain that to me, because I saw Politico has banned biological woman and biological female, as you well. I'm not making that up. Those words are now banned. All right, now that's insane. Not to me, not to you. That's insane to virtually every human being who's ever lived outside of the last 5 years. And yet that's where we got so quickly. Are you telling me everyone at Politico, even the big shots who run Politico, they don't look at that and say, that's stupid? What? I mean, it's a bunch of old men who run it. They have to know this is nuts.
I think they do know it's nuts, but again, they're just terrified of the potential backlash that they would receive from this vocal minority of hardcore progressives and the trans lobby if they were to try to oppose this. So the background for Politico's shift to the left is that they had a number of guest authors on their sort of heralded morning playbook. Everybody in DC used to read it. And when Ben Shapiro authored it, the newsroom went crazy. These activists, young activists they had hired, some of them were not even actually reporters. They worked, doing web design or what have you, had this internal newsroom revolt. And at the time, Politico actually mostly stood up for Ben Shapiro, but I think they realized just how big and vocal this coalition was. And they were like, oh no, we better do something to try to get these people in line, to appease them, so to speak. So they made several changes, including releasing this new style guide in January of 2022. So not that long ago, banning phrases like biological men, because apparently if you refer to someone as a biological man, if they identify as a woman, you're not accepting that they're actually a woman. And there's a whole bunch of other phrases as well, such as mankind, policeman or policewoman. Pretty much any gendered language is a no-go at Politico at this point.